Whether it determines where the title is going to end up is another matter. It's a high-stakes game. Does it take you back to similar games you had at Old Trafford with Arsenal?
Without doubt. I think, though, in those days, we didn't really like the Manchester United players, and they didn't really like us. I think in this situation, there is a nice, healthy respect, and I do think it comes from the managers. And I know that Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson found that respect eventually, but it seems to be there now with these two managers, two great managers. It's interesting listening about healthy competition, referring to the tennis players. You want that challenge. You need that rivalry to be confirmed as great. You need somebody else who's great alongside you, battling against you. And I think these two teams are outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And that's why I was saying at the start of the show, strap yourself in, because we're in for another fantastic spectacle. I think they play with electricity, both of these teams. One's the best presser we've probably ever seen. Those front three for Liverpool, whoever they are, Jim, it's the first line of defence. It's a nightmare trying to play out from the back. But City, it's ingrained, pass the ball, play. They're trained to do that. From a manager who creates no anxiety, he has total belief in his players. It's rapid, silky, quick-fire passing. It's great technique, and it's all done at breakneck speed, under pressure, and we'll see a fantastic game again. We saw that in the first game at Anfield, finished 2-2. Who's going to win the game, Jim? There's so many match winners all over the place.
Now, for sheer rivalry, does it pip your Manchester United Arsenal rivalry?
I think it's still new. I think there's not quite the edge. I don't think we've seen yet the disappointments. I think we have an FA Cup coming up. We potentially have a Champions League final with these two in it. That's how good they are, and they're going to another level. We never matched the successes of Manchester United in the Champions League. We were in our infancy, too young as a team in Europe to really make it count. But domestically, we could run with Manchester United and sometimes beat them. But this is an incredible rivalry that we're starting to see now. But I don't see any hurt there yet. But it's interesting. We were talking about Klopp off air. We're talking, and I think he's quite intimidating. He owns that touchline. When he's there strutting his stuff, he comes out to watch the warm-up of the opposition, and he's basically saying, "Right, I'm judging you. Are you good enough? Can you beat us?"
What do you think of that he does that?
I find that I can't believe no one's gone into his space. I can't believe people haven't blasted the ball at him, or someone's gone and had a little bit with him. I think that might have happened in some of the teams or the era that I played in. I can imagine the Manchester United players maybe not being happy with someone doing that. They're certainly happy with Arsene Wenger, who wasn't really intimidating anybody. Stood on the sideline. So,
what would you have done? If you were still playing, would you go over to Klopp?
I think we might have had a bit of banter with him. I think what he does, he tries to own the touchline, and I respect that. I think if you see someone like Pep's seen it all before. He doesn't engage. What he does, he puts his energy into his team winning the match. You've seen some of the younger managers. I think Frank Lampard had a little set to with him. Even Gerrard, I think, was kind of like they do, don't they? The younger managers, but Pep sits there concentrating on what matters. So there will be a little bit of an exercise on the touchline. But what you can say is the way they shape their teams up, the way they prepare them, both physically, mentally, is really first class. And I think what we should say is, look, they're not going to be here forever. We know that Pep's already saying that he's maybe got another year to go on his contract. Enjoy it while it lasts, Jim. These are fantastic spectacles, and may the best team win.
I picked up on what you said there, Martin. It's fascinating that these two, on Sunday, Manchester City and Liverpool, there's a healthy respect between the two sides.
I believe there is.
But when you played,
that's good for the game.
When you played United, you didn't like them, they didn't like you.
No, because both these teams have grown together almost, or reborn together. Liverpool had a big history, of course they did. But we came from nowhere. Manchester United have won, virtually every Premier League in history at that point.
Did you need that? Did you need that to dislike your opponent?
It's a lot easier, Jim. When you dislike somebody, I think anyone would tell you that. You never give up. You don't want to like your opponent. You have to dislike them for that period, don't you?
Did you truly dislike your Manchester United opponent?
I don't want to build on that. I prefer to talk about what we currently have at the moment.
Because he really disliked you.
They want to win. They want to win for themselves. They don't want to win to stop anyone else winning, both these teams. Yeah. They're healthy winners, and they know they can do it, and they have a respect for one another, and they're in it. Klopp and Pep do it because they love that rivalry. They want to be top dog.
I'm coming to you, Simon. Martin, where are the marginal gains? Where's it won and lost then?
Well, Salah was magical in that first game. The way I was trying to allude to this at the start of the game about philosophies. Most people, when they play against Salah, put a left back on that player to stop him doing what he does. But Man City do the opposite. They actually say, look, we'll have Cancelo there, who will raid forward, he will cut inside, he'll be playing in-swinging crosses and all that creativity that we want from him, because we can win the game that way. And you have to applaud Pep for that. But going the other way, Salah can do damage. And I think might be, if they can get Rodri out of that middle, that protective screen, and they can make runs into the channel away from Walker, then they can maybe win this game. But Man City could pass them to a standstill, and that's so intriguing to watch.
What do you make of it? Martin picked up on Klopp, Simon, standing in the territory of the opposition, watching the warm-up. Sure. It's all psychological, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm very mindful of only saying things that Jurgen Klopp likes. So I want to keep my commentary in that particular territory. But look, I mean, Jurgen Klopp is an assertive character. He's a dynamic, charismatic leader for Liverpool. The debate about whether he owns the touchline against younger managers that are prepared to bite back, well, their teams are not in the position that Pep Guardiola's team is. Pep Guardiola can be quite relaxed about the dynamic because he knows what he can get from his team. He knows his team are good enough to compete with Liverpool. The other guys know that any advantage that Liverpool can gain off the field will only supersede the advantage they've already got on it. So it's a difficult one for them. So Pep can afford to be quite relaxed and laissez-faire about the situation because most of the time his team are in pretty good nick. And we'll see if that changes, and we'll see how relaxed his disposition is. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a liberty, but I think people have got to stand up for themselves. You know, we talked about this earlier on in the season. We talked about when Arteta took him to task, and it sort of galvanised the Liverpool fan base.
Yeah.
And everyone said, well, it was a huge mistake. Right? Well, you can't do right for doing wrong in that instance, can you? You know what you do? Just let him own the touchline, let him dictate the pace, let him get into the fourth official's ear, let him bully the linesman, let him do what he wants, and then let him take liberties. Let him stand in your technical area, because that's what he'll do next. Because he's quite happy to run on a pitch when a game is won, in a game like they did against Everton.
It was actually over an incident where Mane actually threw the arm into the face of an Arsenal player, and he did it in the very next match and got booked for it. So but he didn't get booked in that game.
I think there's a battle to be won. I mean, if you think these battles are important, at the end of the day, it's what the players do on the pitch. You can have all the best battles you want on the touchline, and I think if you're a player and you see your manager looking like Jurgen Klopp dominating proceedings, it only supersedes what you already think. Of course
he might not want to manage me, but I love the way he's in touch, and actually the way that he is. And we talk about the history of that football club and Bill Shankly and being in touch with the local community and the local people and the way they think and breathe. And he's 100% in line with that. This manager, Jurgen Klopp.
Well, what does victory do for you in an occasion like this? I mean, in '98 you went to Old Trafford and won. What did that do for you, lot?
Well, what you need to do, you enjoy the moment, but then you wrap it up, because next week we go to war again, and you play in that FA Cup semi-final down at Wembley, and it'd be different dynamic, much bigger surroundings. There's more on it again, and if you win that first game, and of course, if you look back to '99 when we lost that epic semi-final, there was 2 semi-finals to replay in those days. The momentum went with Manchester United, and they often talk about what that meant to them, to give them the belief once they'd beaten us, they could then go on and do what they did. So it will be significant this weekend. It will be significant. They're both in the middle of really massive Champions League games where they both got one foot in the door. I was at the Etihad the other night. Brilliant the way they play. Foden. Can Liverpool deal with runs from De Bruyne from deep? That high line they have. Jim, it's really, they gamble. Arsenal played in the same way. We push up to that halfway line. It's Van Dijk now. He's the lieutenant. It used to be Tony Adams. We pushed right up.
But you think the cup semi-final between these two is more definitive than Sunday?
No, they all linked to one another. You win the first one, you probably go and win the second, and then you win the league, and then you get to the Champions League final. And maybe you're thinking, hold on, we just won the double in England, the domestic double. Maybe it's going to go against us in this third game. But we could be looking at
Depends how you win the first game. Depends how you win the first game. And I don't think that's right.
There's nothing between these two teams.
No, it's wafer thin, isn't it? You couldn't get a American Express card between the cheeks of their backsides at times. But the bottom line is that you've got two teams that are hugely motivated for this game, and they'll be hugely motivated after the result. One may well be finding themselves in a difficult position, having lost the game, and will want to right the wrong of that particular game. So I don't think you can underestimate these two sets of players and these two sets of managers, either which way, winning or losing this game. It'll be interesting to see if, say, for example, Manchester City win the game or Liverpool win the game, because obviously those are the two people that are participating in it.
Yeah.
The next game will be the semi-final, and I don't think that it's a written script that the winner of the first game naturally rolls into winning the second game.
I know that Pep's been accused of overthinking things, but if we were to overthink it and look back to last year in a trilogy against Chelsea, where they played each other in the league, they played each other in the semi-final of the FA Cup and the Champions League, he got it wrong against them because he started making heavy changes to his personnel. I don't see that happening this weekend.
Who would you rather be this weekend, get into this? City leading or Liverpool chasing?
You don't want to be hunted down. It's very difficult looking over your shoulder, but I think it's almost old square now. I think now it's a level playing field. I'd want to be at home. The home advantage is everything. And they've got to make that count now, City. And they've got to break down a very stubborn, determined defence for Liverpool. And they have the power, though, unlike Atletico Madrid. They'll engage high, and they will take you on the break. They've got really good play. This Liverpool front three, Jim, people worry about the defence, but they can only be as good as what's in front of them. The people work in front. When we had at Arsenal, we had really good players who work hard. The more they do, the less we do. And that's what happens for that Liverpool back four.
Wow. You taking Liverpool?
I think it'd be a home win.
Or you think City will do it? Home win. Mr. Jordan?
That's what I said.
You changed it. I'm really...
Manchester City, yeah.
No, I think, listening to Martin there, I think you've made a big case for Liverpool. We'll see. I saw Liverpool last weekend. They weren't firing on all cylinders, but did enough,
it's too
obviously,
difficult
to beat
call.
Watford.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.